truth never fears a challenge.
Yeah.
And sometimes we need to have our feelings hurt in order to wake us up to what's happening in the world. And so the gospel afflicts the comforted, and comforts the afflicted. And I have enjoyed afflicting the comforted.
Yeah. Well, hey friends, and welcome back to the Empowered Life podcast, where we are awakening purpose and mobilizing people to just have a bold faith that creates impact in their world. And so today's conversation, here is your warning. Buckle up, get ready, because we are hopefully going to shake things up a bit and make things maybe a little uncomfortable, but all for the good. So we are going to be talking about mission and miracles and money. And I can promise you that my guest today is not going to sugarcoat anything for us. Okay, so we are joined today by Louis Fawcett. He is a ministry leader, a nonprofit igniter. He is a fundraiser who has spent decades mobilizing generosity that builds homes for orphans, feeds kids in crisis, and has literally sparked global transformation. And he has one agenda, and that is to change and save more lives. And he is very unapologetic in that mission. So Louis has helped raise, get this, more than $100 million to change and save lives through different global missions. And some of that includes building children's homes, expanding aid in places like Ethiopia and Haiti. And he has truly seen firsthand what generosity makes possible when believers will take God at his word. And he believes that Christianity is not meant to be comfortable. It is meant to be transformational. And he's going to challenge us today to kind of take a deeper look into what we believe about generosity and what it really costs to follow Jesus. So if you're ready for some real talk and for impact, we're going to jump in. Here we go. Louis, I'm so glad that you're here, and welcome.
Thanks for having me, Meredith.
Yes. You know, when I read over all that you have done in your short lifetime, it is quite impressive, and I can't even imagine the faces you've seen, the hurt you've seen, and what I see in you is a person of deep conviction and passion, and I'm sure it's all connected, and that is where that comes from. And so I want our listeners, before we get into it, to just get to know you a little bit and tell us a little bit about your story and this crazy radical adventure that you've been on, helping people in global missions around the world. So what is that like, and how did that get started?
So I grew up going to church, but I can't say that my relationship with the Lord was strong. It was something that we were supposed to do, expected to do. Yeah. It was a part of the small town in which I grew up, our culture, to be in church, but I don't know that how much the Lord was in my heart.
Yeah, not a personal relationship, more just checking off the box.
Right. And so when I went to college, as many people do, it was an opportunity to be independent and to explore what life is. And I was headed to see a girl when I was 18 years old, and I had driven all night long. Ironically, her name
must have been worth it.
Ironically, her name was Angel.
Okay.
And as I was about an hour away, I fell asleep at the wheel.
Oh, wow.
And I woke up with the concrete support of a bridge in front of me and had seconds to avoid hitting that. A couple more seconds and I wouldn't be here. Wow. And so I swerved and spun down the interstate. I don't know how I didn't hit anyone else.
Yeah.
And I ended up on the guardrail. So the back two tires were up on the guardrail. So I was stuck. And this was 1990, before cell phones.
Right.
I was on the side of the road in the mountains in Virginia, and I had to wait for a state trooper to eventually come
See you.
along.
Right.
And I remember standing on the side of the road in December in the mountains of Virginia with my feet going numb, freezing
Right.
in the grass. And I looked up into that pale blue winter sky and said, why am I here?
Right.
Lord, what is this about? What is the purpose of life? So it became...
Because you felt like it had just kind of flashed before you. It was, you saw the seriousness of that potential accident.
Well, it was... The accident was a culmination of a miserable start to my college.
Yeah.
I was not happy in college.
You're just on the wrong path.
I was just wandering.
Yeah.
And didn't know really where I was headed. And so seeing my car stranded up on the guardrail in a place where I wasn't supposed to be, because my parents didn't know I was going to see this girl, and I knew I was going to have to call my parents. So things had been bad for a while, and it got to the point where I had to ask the question, does any of this make a difference? Is there a reason to live?
Yeah.
So it was truly an existential moment.
Yeah.
And that moment then put me on a 10-year journey of studying religions across the world, of studying Christianity, Scripture, Judaism, all the world religions, and looking for an answer to that fundamental question.
What is truth and what is the purpose?
Is there a God?
Is there a God? Yeah.
And it came down for me to a binary choice of either there is no God, and we're just here just like plants and rocks and animals and insects. We live and we die. And when you consider that in the context of billions of years of the universe, then our short time here on Earth really doesn't matter. And so if that's the case, then the decisions we make, the things we do, have no consequence, because we're just all going to live and die, and there is no point. Or we're created by God and we're put here with a purpose.
Yeah.
And so I read and struggled and talked and prayed, and through figures like the Apostle Paul, St. Augustine, Martin Luther, I came to the conclusion that we are here with a purpose, and our purpose is to praise the Lord and to help others. And that is the meaning of life.
Yeah.
And that helped me then to say, okay, if I am put here to praise the Lord and help others, what does that look like? Vocationally,
Right.
personally. And so I ended up as a pastor in the church for 11 years.
So I'm assuming when you went to college, it wasn't seminary. That wasn't like what you had in your mind. So
No,
God really, you did a kind of 180.
I was a double major in math and physics.
Okay.
So,
Very much so.
Science and math was the
So you're
focus.
the analytical one that needs the concrete, and so you had to wrestle with God and really come to terms with that.
Yeah, there have to be facts, definitely facts over feelings.
Yeah.
Feelings are important,
Yeah.
but often will mislead us.
Yeah. That's good.
So that 10-year academic journey then led me to ordination and another 10-year journey in the church, where as a young idealistic person, I discovered that many congregations are not terribly interested in mission. They are interested in other things, but at least in where I was in the churches I was serving, it was more of a club than it was a group of people serving the Lord. And so I became frustrated because I wanted to focus on mission and outreach, and they wanted to focus on
Fellowship
potluck dinners and the cemetery.
Yeah.
And
the cemetery. What do you mean?
Oh, well, the for the congregations I've
Yeah.
served, they had cemeteries,
Oh.
and they were very much interested in the upkeep of the cemetery and their place in the cemetery.
Oh. I didn't know if that was like figuratively, but you're saying literally.
Oh, we had a cemetery committee,
Oh, wow.
and so it was odd to me
Yeah.
that we were focused on the dead instead of the living.
Yeah. There's people still alive that need us. Let's focus there.
So I went on a journey with my wife to have children, to build a family.
I assume this is not Angel.
No, no, things
Angel was
didn't.
just literally an angel, but not
Angel
the
moved
one.
on to
Yeah.
Other
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
She
Lucky for
wasn't
you, you got
one.
your wife. Yeah.
And so we wanted to build a family, and we were not able to get pregnant, and we decided to adopt. And God led us to adopt 2 children from China. And it was during that experience that the director of our agency said, hey, there are millions of orphans who are left behind who will never be adopted. And we have a foundation, and we need you to raise money to help these kids. And I said, well, I don't know how to raise money. And she said, that's okay, you'll figure it out. So the blessing of that is that I was on my own to do whatever I needed to do to learn how to raise money and to figure out how we could fund helping these kids.
Yeah.
The curse of that is I was on my own.
Yeah.
And so I had to figure it out and be self-taught and made all the mistakes and did all the things wrong that you can do
Yeah.
in fundraising.
But your heart was in it, because this is obviously very close to your heart if you have these 2 children that you were able to adopt, and you can't adopt them all.
So that was an
kinda fueled you.
awakening for me about the plight of orphans across the world.
Yeah.
And just how many children are born into impossible circumstances, and how much of a difference we can make
Yeah.
in their lives.
Yeah.
And so in 2008, at the height of the Great Recession, my director called me and she said, well, we're going to build a children's home in Ethiopia. And I said, well, how much is that going to cost? She said, well, it's $1 million, but they're children who are living on the streets. They don't have anything to eat. They don't have clothing. They don't have schools. So we've got to take care of them. I said, well, how are we going to raise that money? She said, you'll figure it out. And she hung up the phone.
Wow.
And so I went to work and found people who were supportive of that ministry. And we raised over $1 million and built the children's home in Ethiopia during the Great Recession, when people were saying, oh, you can't do fundraising, the economy is terrible,
Right.
there's this reason, that reason. And that just taught me that no matter what, when you are committed to a cause and you will stop at nothing to achieve your goals, that the river of philanthropy is deep and wide, and there will always be money to support meaningful causes.
Yeah, that's so good. So that $1 million, that home, literally took these kids off the streets and gave them a place. Wow.
Nannies and nurses and a school and food and clothing, a completely new life.
Yeah.
And so, and many of those kids ended up being adopted as well.
Yeah.
Then after the earthquake in Haiti, I was called to an organization there, and I was raising money for 5 feeding programs, 3 schools, and then a special needs orphanage. Because in the voodoo culture, kids who are born with special needs are cast out to die. They're seen as curses rather than blessings. And so we would, in the middle of Port-au-Prince, we would scoop them up, take them out into the countryside, and where we had a facility there with gardens and with buildings and with nurses and with physical therapists, and we would take care of those kids.
Wow.
And so it was during those years that I progressively saw how much suffering there is in the world, how much opportunity there is to help, and how insulated people can become here in the States.
Yeah.
And how, if we're not careful, we can live in our bubble.
Yeah.
And we can ignore what's happening somewhere else.
Yeah. Out of sight, out of mind.
And that can be even in our own cities,
Yeah.
in our own towns.
Right.
And so I began to lose patience with people who would spend money on things that really don't matter. They would raise money for things to make their lives nicer, but that weren't really transformative
Right.
in people's lives. And I began to lose patience with congregations and organizations who were institutional. And they were focused on preserving their institution rather than helping people in need.
So you saw all this, and it was frustrating. How do you guard your heart from turning bitter in that situation? How do you channel that into a positive?
So I'm not very patient. I'm not a very patient person. And I don't care a lot about people's feelings.
That's the unapologetic part. I warned you, so here it is, which is good.
Because
Tell the truth.
there are too many people in the world suffering
Yeah.
for us to be caught up in our feelings.
Yeah.
And the things we worry about, the things we complain about, are nothing.
Yeah.
And the things that upset us, the things that we rant about on social media, really
Insignificant.
are insignificant.
Yeah.
And feelings are not a part of Scripture. God never says, I want you to feel this way.
Yeah.
The Lord never says, blessed are those who feel bad.
Yeah.
It is, blessed are those who are meek, who are hungry, who are poor.
Merciful.
These
Yeah.
are these are realities of life
Yeah.
that aren't about feelings.
Right.
And I don't use it as an excuse to be mean, but I do use it as motivation to speak the truth,
Yeah.
because truth never fears a challenge.
Yeah.
And sometimes we need to have our feelings hurt in order to wake us up
Yeah.
to what's happening in the world. And
Yeah.
so the gospel afflicts the comforted, and comforts the afflicted. And I have enjoyed afflicting the comforted.
Yeah. Well, I think that we need to be stretched. And I think it is, especially in our culture, it is way too easy to get comfortable and to live like cute Christian lives. And that is very far from the call and what the gospel says. And so I welcome the challenge that you bring. And I love that you are, you have the conviction to wake people up. And so I want us to dig more into that. And What is it specifically that you have seen that you think we are misunderstanding when it comes to generosity?
So it's no secret that we have tremendous resources here in the United States, certainly in the Western world. And the opportunity that presents also presents a tremendous responsibility. How are we going to use these resources that God has entrusted to us to help others?
To steward it.
And I think that generosity has been made into something that we do with what is extra in our lives.
Like the leftovers.
The abundance. And so we take care of ourselves first, our families, our futures, our vacations, our luxuries. And then if we have anything left over, we'll give it away maybe to a nonprofit. And there has been in our culture this insidious idea that every dollar matters, that just give what's on your heart. That's the way we can help other people. But that's not the message of Scripture. It is not about giving what's on your heart. It is about giving generously and sacrificially. That's what we're taught. That's what we should strive for. And so when I hear, for instance, someone say, well, what about the widow's mite? She gave all that she had, and her small gift matters just as much as what rich people give.
Yeah, so take us back and remind us of the story.
So Jesus comes into Jerusalem. He rides in on the donkey, what we consider Palm Sunday, and he's on the road to the cross. And he is in the last phases of his ministry. And he is confronting the hypocrites, the hypocrisy of the religious institution, the scribes, the Pharisees, the Sadducees. He's confronting the abuses of power that were happening in the temple, in the government. He's confronting the reality of the small percentage of wealthy people and the vast percentage of impoverished people. And he tells the story when he's observing people giving their offerings and the rich people coming by and giving and receiving accolades for that, and then the widow who comes by and gives all that she has, the 2 coins. And he says, when we look at her, she has her place in heaven because she gave all that she had. And that story is about sacrificial giving, and it's also a commentary on corruption and the way that institutions end up taking advantage of people who don't have much. And there is an underlying message that she gave, but should she have even given to this corrupt institution? And here she is giving everything to an organization that is going to squander it. But I think that story's been taken out of context to give people the idea.
But in it, Jesus affirms her gift, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. He affirms her generosity. But criticizes the way that it will be used. And so that's been taken, I think, out of context to say, well, every gift matters. And our lives are not structured that way at all. the currency that we've been given in this world to change and save lives is money. Mm-hmm. And I understand there's a spiritual economy, and one day there will be no more suffering and no more tears, mm-hmm. but that day is not here yet. And as we've been made stewards of this vineyard, we have been made managers of this tremendous wealth. Mm-hmm. And as we go through our days, we're constantly thinking about pricing. Mm-hmm. We wake up in the morning, how much is coffee? How much is breakfast? How much do the kids need for school? How much is a tank of gas?
Right.
What's lunch going to cost? What do we need to do around the yard? What's the power bill? What's the mortgage? Mm-hmm. All day long, every day, we are bombarded with messages around pricing. Mm-hmm. And we're constantly thinking about what things cost. It's the first question people ask. Mm. What did this cost?
Yeah.
And then when it comes to mission and ministry, mm-hmm. we don't get prices. We get, well, just give a gift because we need your help. Mm. Or don't you think we should be helping orphans, so you should give to this? Mm-hmm. And it is like we are supposed to think differently mm-hmm. about mission and ministry than we think about our business lives or mm-hmm. our professional lives. Mm-hmm. And it is no different.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Why do we have such a hesitation to put a price on impact kind of work, mission work?
Piety.
Okay.
I think people are by and large uncomfortable talking about money as it relates to charity. Mm. They're very comfortable talking about the price of a car mm-hmm. or the price of a vacation. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to the investment in other people, the value of helping people who are suffering, then all of a sudden it becomes a personal choice. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden it becomes something that we're uncomfortable talking about. Mm. And that discomfort has been inherited by nonprofit leaders and ministry leaders in a way that leads us to think, well, we shouldn't talk about how much it costs because that might offend someone. Mm. What someone gives is between them and God. Mm-hmm. Well, we want everyone to be included. Mm-hmm. And so people have to make their own choices about what they're given, mm-hmm. what they're giving. But you don't run into that anywhere else in life. I mm-hmm. promise you, if you go to the car dealership, mm-hmm. the car dealer, the salesperson is never going to say, well, we want everyone to be included. So if you want this Mercedes, just give whatever's on your heart.
Yeah,
just
right.
give what
Wouldn't
makes
that be
sense
nice?
to you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the reality is it's the same in mission and ministry.
Right.
Everything has a cost, mm-hmm. and everything that we look at in this world has been bought or sold mm-hmm. by someone.
Yeah.
Every great ministry that has ever occurred
took money. Yeah.
Was funded
mm-hmm.
by someone.
Yeah.
And so I think we have a tremendous opportunity to help people understand the responsibility mm-hmm. that they've been given by God, and then the opportunity to make a tremendous difference in the lives of others.
Yeah.
Nonprofits also have a tremendous responsibility mm-hmm. to be good stewards of those resources and to report on the outcomes of the generosity.
Yeah.
And so in the same way that I'm asking donors to be generous, mm-hmm. I'm also asking nonprofits to be responsible mm-hmm. and communicative with their donors about how the money was spent.
Yeah. Do you feel like one of the hesitations in talking about money is, or in even giving, is just this fear that it is, going to be mismanaged, and that, it's all smoke and mirrors, and these people aren't really doing great work. Like, people have just been burned. And so that's leading nonprofits to just don't talk about money because we don't want people to think that's all we care about. And do you feel like you're seeing some of that as being the motivator here?
And what's interesting about that approach, I do think people worry about the abuses, the misuses. But I am on the phone, on Zoom, in meetings, traveling every day, every week, every month, every year, meeting with nonprofit leaders and ministry leaders all over the country. And I see over and over again people who are making personal sacrifices to achieve the mission, who are working 50, 60 hours a week, who are not receiving health care benefits, who are making far less than they could make in the business world because they're so committed and because they've answered the call. And I don't see abuses of power and money. And I think what happens is one person out of 10,000 misuses an opportunity, and that's what's reported. That's what we hear about. And that is not fair. Should that person be exposed and held accountable? Yes. But is it fair then for that one example to strike fear in our hearts?
No.
So I certainly want organizations to understand that donors have needs as well. And that we can't treat donors like ATM machines. We can't just assume that they're these rich people who have all this money who, because we have a 501c3 and a website and a newsletter, are going to automatically understand how much they should give and just generously mail in checks and give online. No, organizations have a responsibility to serve the needs of their donors. Donors have a need to understand how their money is being spent, to see the impact of their generosity, and to be involved in organizations. That's the value that they're paying for. They're paying for a transformation of a people. They're paying for an experience. And so when ministries and nonprofits provide an uncommon experience for donors, that keeps them coming back. And we're including donors as part of our mission. We have a mission to serve orphans and widows all across the world. We also have a mission to serve the needs of donors so that they can be unburdened of their wealth.
That's a different way of thinking of it.
Every wealthy person I've ever spoken to feels a burden.
Really? Of just not knowing what to do with it?
What am I to do with these blessings? What am I to do with this wealth?
Who can I trust?
Who can I trust? How can I not be taken advantage of? How can this not be squandered? And when an organization goes to a wealthy person and presents an opportunity and becomes a philanthropic advisor, then the donor sees herself not as giving to a person or an organization, but rather as giving to a need through that person or organization.
That's good.
So in the same way that people have wealth managers that invest money to receive a return on that investment, we should see ourselves in the nonprofit sector as philanthropic investors and philanthropic advisors so that we can guide people on how they can use their money to achieve the maximum impact.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
when you see yourself as a philanthropic advisor, it takes away the pressure.
Yeah.
And it's not that, oh, I'm coming to Meredith to ask her for $1 million.
Right.
No, I'm coming alongside Meredith to help guide her and advise her in how she wants to be generous.
Wow. Such a different way of looking at it, but I can see how powerful that must be. And have you found that when an organization is more transparent about the real cost, that it actually builds trust and it can unlock generosity in a donor?
Without apology.
Really?
When an organization is willing to say, here is what it costs to serve this need in the world, in our community, and we're not going to apologize for that cost.
Right.
And you can make a value-based decision
Yeah.
if you think it is worth that to you.
Mm-hmm.
We live in this strange world where you go out to dinner and the bill comes, and you would never look at the bill and look at the server and look at the bill and look at the server and say, now how much of this is the chef getting? Now how much of this is going to the general manager? Now how much of this is profit? We never ask that question in any aspect of our lives, but all of a sudden, when it comes to mission and ministry, now people want to know, well, what percentage is going to the children? Well, how much is the executive director getting paid? Well, how much does the pastor get paid? And it's a ridiculous question. Organizations are doing all they can to stretch every single dollar. I see it every day. And so the answer to how much of my money is going to the mission is 100%, all of it.
Yeah.
Because every person here at this organization is required for us to be able to help the people we're helping. And we also have to take it to another level where we understand in the corporate world how executives and salespeople are lavishly compensated because of how hard they work, how well they work, and how long they stay with the organization. And corporations understand that to recruit and retain the best people, you have to pay.
Yeah.
And when you pay over the long term, you end up growing and doing better as a corporation.
Right.
It's the same in the nonprofit sector.
Yeah.
If we want to have the best people, then we have to be willing to pay for that.
Right.
So it's odd to me, very odd, that we live in a world where we're completely fine with executives at Starbucks and McDonald's making millions of dollars. But then if we hear about an executive director at a nonprofit making $200,000, somehow that bothers us.
Yeah.
The two organizations are purveyors of heart disease and diabetes, and this other executive director who's making a fraction of what they could be making, trying to help people, is castigated for making a decent salary.
Yeah.
And it makes no sense.
Yeah. That's so true. And it is such a twisted mentality. And I think it's the enemy's way of keeping us from giving. If we have all these mistruths, whether it's every gift matters and it's, what's ever on your heart, whether that's the lie you're kind of hung up on, or whether it's, these people aren't stewarding it well, or how is their money being spent, or they're, giving too much to the CEO, or it's all tactics to keep us close-fisted. And ultimately it hurts everyone. It hurts the people on the other side of the mission, the children that, those kids would not have that home that you helped to fund, but it also hurts the donor. It holds you back from being able to step into the freedom that comes from knowing that you're making a difference in the world.
and the tremendous blessing
Yeah.
that comes with giving.
Yeah.
And you're right. When the evil one sows doubt and discord, then it causes us to protect ourselves
Yeah.
and to build walls.
Yeah.
And the gospel is about the opposite, and about the freedom that comes with knowing that none of this is really ours anyway.
Yeah.
It all belongs to God, and our destiny is secure in Him. No promises about what we may suffer before we get to our destiny, but at least we know at the end of the road we will be with the Lord.
Right.
And when people are able to concentrate on that positive message, they end up doing incredible things with their wealth.
Well, I know you have a ton of experience working with nonprofits and seeing probably the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in the middle. And one thing that you've been very vocal about is how you call allies the shining star. And so I want to talk a little bit more about your work with nonprofits and specifically allies and what role you have in helping allies.
So in my role as the president of the National Association of Nonprofit Organizations and Executives, I have the opportunity to work with nonprofits and ministry all over the country. And I see every day how organizations are being run. And the reason I say that Allies is the shining star is because of the way Allies invest in people. They have invested in programs and in leaders and in volunteers in countries all over the world. Now we're up to 85 countries. And Allies has been able to mobilize an incredible force for good in some of the most destitute places. They have brought light to darkness in 85 countries.
Yeah.
And they're doing it all on a budget of about $2 million, $2.5 million annually. What other organization could serve in 85 countries
Yeah.
for $2.5 million?
What number would you think would be more appropriate?
Well, if it was a government, they'd spend trillions.
Right.
If it was a business, they would certainly spend billions. And Allies only needs a few million to make a tremendous impact. Now, that's what they're doing abroad, but getting to know the staff at Allies has showed me how much this organization invests in people here who are committed to this work. And Allies has a unique way of valuing not only the orphans that are being served, but also the staff members and volunteers and donors here who are facilitating the ministry. And so in that respect, they do a tremendous job of valuing everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel that Allies does in terms of transparency and providing donors with the needs that they have?
So Allies has a case for support document that they update every year. And in the back of that case for support is the program budget. And it lays out how every dollar will be spent for each program. And I know that if any donor wanted to go deeper than that and look at a more in-depth view of how resources are being spent, that would be welcomed as well.
Yeah. So you feel that Allies is a mission worth investing in?
Definitely. I don't know of any other organization that is doing more with so little,
Mm-hmm.
and that is leveraging resources the way Allies is.
Yeah.
And if we go to the heart of Scripture, if we go to the meaning of life,
Mm-hmm.
how can we glorify God and help others? It's investing in organizations like Allies.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I feel like this is an opportunity for you to just tell our listeners, challenge us a bit. If there's one kind of key takeaway that you would want people to hear today about ministry and impact and their money, what would it be?
I would encourage you to sow in to leaders in ministries and nonprofits. I would encourage you to assume the best and ignore the gossip, ignore the negativity, ignore the discord, because there will always be someone who is trying to tear down what the Lord is doing. And when you are supportive with your money, with your love, with your communication, when you sow into the lives of people who are on the front lines of mission and ministry, they will be blessed tremendously. The Lord's will is done, and you will be blessed tremendously.
That's so powerful. Thank you. Louis, I think this has been very refreshing and encouraging. And another question for someone who heard something you said today and they feel challenged by it. They're like you maybe, and they need to wrestle more with digging into that. And I want to lean into this discomfort. What would you say to them? Where could they maybe go? Any books or resources or that you think you could pass on that might be helpful?
Well, for anyone who is uncomfortable or challenged by anything I've said, I encourage them to give me a call.
I love it.
803-849-0072.
Wow.
I'm always happy to have a conversation.
That's great.
And then I would encourage them to pray about what has confronted them, what has disturbed them. Because often when we are confronted, it is revealing something within us.
Yeah.
A truth that maybe we would rather not deal with,
Yeah.
that it would be more convenient to ignore. And so first and foremost, I'm happy to have the conversation, but I also encourage them to have the conversation with God about why this is bothersome. And they may uncover some aspects that could be freeing.
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, because at the end of the day, we don't want to live lukewarm, cozy, comfortable Christian lives.
We don't want to be spewed out like the Laodiceans in Revelation.
We don't. And as uncomfortable as it might be to be stretched and challenged, I know that's what I want. I want to know that I'm laying it all out on the table and I'm living the life that He's called me to. And so I just want to thank you for your honesty and thank you for being a voice that challenges people and isn't a people pleaser. I feel like 99% of this world is, and so we need the 1%. So thank you for that. Well, friends, I hope that today's message has challenged you and also reminded you that generosity is not just a transaction. It really is about transformation, and it is how the kingdom advances. And so, y'all, nothing changes if it doesn't cost us something. And so the mission that we have to defend the orphans and the vulnerable youth, it really requires courage and conviction and obedience, because there are children that are waiting right now on the other side of someone's yes. So if that's you and if God is nudging your heart today, then I just encourage you to lean into that and just trust that His prompting, it always points you to purpose. And you can learn more about how to join the mission of Allies. Go to alliesyouth.org. And when you partner with him, I promise you, miracles unfold in us and through us. And so this is how we can live empowered, by really taking what God's giving us and putting it in his hands. So thank you so much for joining us. If you enjoyed this message, I just want to encourage you to like and comment and share it. Every time you share, it just helps us spread the word and expand the impact. So we'll see you next time.